Christian persecution is on the rise worldwide. According to Open Doors, their 2026 World Watch List, over 388 million Christians face high persecution and discrimination for their faith around the world. The Iranian regime has recently been accused of killing at least 19 Christians who protested the regime, and we've seen many, many more slaughtered in the streets of Iran, according to reports coming out. In China, more church leaders have recently been arrested amid crackdowns on underground churches. So what can be done to hold these regimes accountable and protect these Christians? And is it of concern, or should it be of concern to Americans? Joining me now to discuss this and more, Sam Brownback, who's chairman of the National Committee for Religious Freedom. He previously served as United States Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom during the first Trump administration. Prior to that, he was in the United States Senate and governor of Kansas. Ambassador, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Tony. Good to join you, as usual. Thanks for being here, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Always great to talk with you. I want to, time will go by very quickly. You have a book coming out on China, this whole issue of religious persecution. Tell our folks about it.
Book's title is China's War on Faith, and it's really China's at war with God.
Right.
And they are attacking every faith, and they are ruthless about it, and they treat people of faith as national security risk in China, which to me tells us that we should be treating these same people of faith as really key people in our view of the world on how you bring an open society, right, is to support them and to be behind them.
So, Ambassador, we're talking about faith. Let me play the devil's advocate here. Why should we as Americans be concerned about what China is doing to religious minorities? Why should we be concerned about Iran?
Well, because Iran and China are in alliance. You've got an axis of evil that's operational between Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. These guys operate with each other. They are wanting to take us down, and they are in a fight with us, but we haven't decided yet if we're really...
So the issue of religious freedom is a part of that concern?
It's a part of it in the sense that this is the group of people that will actually stand up to all of those rogue regimes. It's the Christians inside of Iran. It's the Baha'is there. It's the Buddhists in China that will actually stand up. It's the Falun Gong and Christians there in China that will actually stand up to these regimes. And on top of it, Tony, because China has a global view of what they're doing, they want to take over and rule the world. They don't want Western democracies to be ruling the world. They want authoritarian. They are pushing this regime of control of religion everywhere with all of their satellites and acolyte countries.
So two reasons I would see here. Number one, as a Christian, as a believer, Hebrews tells that we should be in bonds as they are. We should consider ourselves alongside them. So we should be concerned about the plight of Christians in other countries. But as a policymaker here in the United States, the evidence seems to be overwhelming that when a country has religious freedom, it has greater social stability, economic opportunity, and prosperity, and therefore less of a concern for us from a national security standpoint.
It is. Absolutely. But I'm just saying that China fears their own religious people more than they fear our aircraft carriers or even our nuclear weapons. And if that's the case, then we should be working with these folks in those countries and backing them and supporting them, sending the Secretary of State to meet with the Dalai Lama, meeting with these Christian groups. And I'd also note these Christians that were recently arrested in China, they've been charged with national security crimes in China. So the Chinese see them as a national security threat. We should see them as people we should be supporting against this Chinese Communist Party.
I mean, by standing with the religious minorities, we're standing against these totalitarian regimes.
We are. That's who we're standing. And this is our erstwhile enemy. These guys want to take us down, Tony. These guys want to run the world the same way the Soviet Union wanted to run the world. The Chinese Communist Party wants to run the world. And we need to wake up and realize that and say, okay, what do we need to do to effectively fight back against them? And religious freedom is a bedrock of what we can fight back. Similar to how Ronald Reagan went at the Soviet Union, he talked about the godless commies,
right,
and what they would do to the Jewish refuseniks. We need to talk about what happens to the Christians in China to communicate to the American public and the West These are our allies. That's the right asset. And we need to take on the Chinese Communist Party.
Well, this administration is certainly talking about that more than the previous administration did. Is it being effectuated in the policies of this administration?
I don't know that. I don't think we're there yet with effectively getting into policies. We're seeing more democracy advocate groups support religious freedom as seeing this is a constituency that you can work with to build a more open society. We need our national security apparatus to now look at that. You know, when Nixon opened up China, one of the deals it appears was struck is that we would no longer support the Tibetan Buddhists and the Muslim Uyghurs. Bad deal. We need to come back.
So you're saying we need to understand religious freedom is about more than religious freedom.
It can no longer be treated as this boutique human right issue.
So it's really more of the hub of almost everything we're concerned about as a government.
It's our greatest asset.
Yeah.
It's what we stand for as a country. It is an existential threat to the Chinese Communist Party. And if that's the case, then we should treat it as this major asset that it is, and not as a mere human right that we raise when we're when it's convenient.
Ambassador, we just have about a minute left. I'm going to ask you to put back on your Senate hat back when you were in the Senate. Iran right now, existential threat to Israel, obviously. They're on the ropes. What would you like to see the outcome of the current situation? What would be ideal?
The regime being toppled. There is no solution of getting rid of the terrorist levels in the Middle East now that involves this Iranian regime staying in power. This regime needs to be toppled, that needs to be taken over by the people, and elections happening inside of Iran. That's your only solution that's going to get you away from the levels of terrorism they've sponsored.
15 seconds. How can we help with that? The United States.
I think we as the United States stand up and back President Trump and saying the only answer is the regime has to be changed and the people need to take over in Iran.
I think there's no chance of reforming that regime.
You can't.
They've proven decade after decade, 5 decades of hostility to human rights and to freedom.
And obviously the people want a change. They've been out in the streets and getting killed.
It's not something we're imposing on them. It's something they're asking.
They want it. And this is the only way it's really going to happen. And this is the time for it to happen.
Senator, we got to go. Thanks so much for joining us.